Beautiful song. Song.
Is brought to you in part by CarShop.com. You don't have to be a freeloader your whole life. The good news is that you can support this show and the fight by buying some really cool clothes. CarShop.com.
That was actually that was hard to do because I didn't do my breathing exercises this morning. After the surgery, I have this Bane mask I have to breathe into to expand my lungs in the morning, and I forgot to do it. And so just that sip made me go.
Does it hurt?
For you. That's a great way to start a show where we're waging war. Figuratively,
Power sip. Come on.
Figuratively fighting like hell. Figuratively.
Peacefully.
But maybe. So we have a lot to get to. Look, thank you so much, people who are tuning in right now. Are you going to do a stream today? Because, yes, we are suspended from YouTube for at least a week. But, look, same old, same old. This one is a little bit scary because of how it affects you and because of when it came down.
Yeah.
And how it went down, just to be clear. So we're going to talk about that. We're streaming, of course. We'll still be streaming for the remainder of the suspensions till what, next Wednesday?
It's something like that.
Okay, so until next Thursday on YouTube, we'll still be doing. Hold on a second, son of a bitch.
What you got?
Your ear itch?
I have a really, really itchy ear.
Cut away from it.
What did you guys? Did you guys fart in my ear? Yeah. My cans?
I did.
I don't know.
No, it was in your breathing mask.
It was in my breathing mask. Thank God I didn't do my exercise.
Yeah.
Joke's on you.
Oh, gee.
I guess joke's on no one. It's just hovering in my closet somewhere. So we're going to be talking about this quite a bit today.
All these years.
And we'll be on Rumble. We'll be here on Mug Club. We'll be taking a lot of your chats today. So please feel free to send in your questions. Have a long conversation. And look, we also have a promo code. But first, Gerald A., how are you?
I am well, sir. Ready to fight like hell.
Yeah, very nice.
Have to, yeah.
Look, you're wearing the Fight Like Hell shirt.
I am. It's my favorite one.
So am I. Look, wearing the Fight Like Hell shirt. Right? This is a violent threat, apparently. So every single politician, celebrity, and or insert whoever person here.
Yeah, Z.
I don't think there's a person on earth who's never used the words fight like hell.
I mean, in some way.
Except for Carl, one of my neighbors, but he's a pussy.
Wow.
Carl's a bitch.
He a little bit.
Yeah, he wears a shirt that says "Get beat up."
And he's
like
been
that.
going through my mail. That's a federal offense.
What a jerk.
Oh, Carl.
I'm just looking for coupons.
Coupons, yeah.
Oh,
You and Kim Kardashian.
That's it.
Did you know Kim Kardashian got into couponing?
What?
Talk about fat ass Armenian privilege.
She's not allowed to use coupons.
Yeah,
she's not allowed.
Just too much money. If
I would say-
I'd rip them up at the pharmacy if I was the cashier.
Yes. I'm like, did you not make $10 million for having sex with a black DJ? Yeah. 20 cents off for Sunny D. We're not going to honor that one.
No.
Yes, sorry.
We're going to give it to somebody who deserves it.
By the way, who buys a 48-gallon drum of Sunny D?
And wants to save 30 cents.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode, she'll be like, I don't know. I need to quit my Sunny D. Today on the Kardashians, Kim Kardashian quits her habit of Sunny D. Oh, wow. I really need to get a life.
Sonny's the name of a guy, though, really. It's not the drink.
Yeah, it's
Sonny gave the D. Quarterback Garrett, how are you?
Yo, what's
You're
going
fighting
on?
like hell.
Check it out. I got the red one.
Yeah.
You see, and then
Which I gave to you this morning.
which you did. It does smell like you.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
It's got my muscle. I wore it
I don't
from
know how to
home
feel
to the
about that.
studio and then found out we didn't. Does it fit?
It does. It does.
You like it?
Yeah.
Hang on to it.
Yeah, there you
man.
go.
Hang on to it. The only
is this, a
black
Coke
man
commercial?
with the only black man with Keanu Reeves straight hair.
I can't do it right now. I'll
You
put it
can
away.
play any character in a movie other than a black person.
That's what I'm going.
It's
for.
like the lamb's blood over the door for sickle cell. For
I
him.
can
It's
play
just
a
they
black
go,
person.
"Wow,
I
that
just
hair."
have to.
Nah,
I'm
can't
not
be.
going
There's,
to.
there's makeup I need to put on.
And then we have Landau Dave. You can follow him on Twitter at Landau Dave. He's fighting like hell, and
Ahoy.
he's going to be in Orlando.
Orlando this Friday and Saturday, fighting like hell.
Hey, and a lot of people out there
Doing
asking,
comedy. I don't want to fight you.
right?
Oh, well.
Well, look,
don't know.
There's a reason for weight classes,
That's true.
I'd watch.
and we're not allowed to say this on YouTube, but there's a reason for gender divisions.
In prisons?
No, not in prisons. Not in women's restrooms.
Oh.
Not in the locker rooms. You can go into any locker room you
showers?
want, but when you go out into competition, then there are gender divisions. Outside of state wrestling,
But when
and
I,
outside of MMA, and outside of tennis, once upon a time was my point.
It's very.
but when I put on my lady wig, or as I call it, my woman fighting hat,
Yes.
is that a problem?
Oh gosh.
it is all
What? It evens it out. I don't think me fighting a woman would be that. I mean, give or take.
I
Finish
think
that
you'd be.
sentence,
I
Dave.
think
Finish
you'd be
that sentence.
surprised.
Hey man, yeah.
You would be surprised.
Aim high, Dave. Aim high.
That's true, but I've had it
Dave, is
handed
that
to me.
self-deprecation?
No, it's just look at me.
It's just self-deprecation is self-humiliation. Oh, okay. So you can't make fun of yourself, Nanette.
That's
so make
right.
fun of others? That's cruelty. How do you tell jokes? I don't. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll beat Citizen Kane. Eat your heart out, Fellini, you what prick.
Ouch.
I'm better than The Shining.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The Godfather Part 2 is absolute shit
I look like
compared to this.
I look like Harry Potter's lesbian sister.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
But they need to really sip it. Slytherin's not gender neutral. In Hufflepuff are assholes. I feel like I have no home over there at Hogwarts. The Dementors asked me to join them just because of my shriek, but I said no.
Imagine the light turns blue. Sorry, that's not a joke. Why are you people laughing?
I have no idea.
No, I
So
You
look,
should
there is a
watch that.
promo code right now for people who are out there. If you want to
Yes.
join Mug Club, if you're watching on Rumble. By the way, smash that Rumble button. People who
Smash
are
it.
watching on the Rumble, look at that. Smash Rumble. Of course, figuratively.
Nine.
And if you haven't joined yet, you can join Mug Club. The promo code is it's Fight Like
it's
Hell
Fight
for
Like
$20 off an annual
Fight Like
subscription
Hell.
where you get not only the shows that we can never air on YouTube, an hour of the show every day that is not airable on YouTube, as well as the entire Blaze catalog, this wonderful hand-etched girthy mug. And I wanted the promo code to be gender fluid rape, but that was vetoed.
A little
Yeah,
on the nose,
They
maybe?
said no.
I preferred hatcheted off cock.
Yes. Yeah. And actually, that one still is available, but you actually pay $20 more.
It's an extra.
And you actually...
But you get paid 77 cents less.
Yes, but you still have to keep paying $20 more every month.
Yes.
In order to keep the Hatcheted Off Cock promo code open and available.
Ah.
I wanted Bruce Jenner Danglesack.
Yes, yeah.
Well, no. you can't
Too
do
many
that one
characters.
either.
It's
Too
it's a
many.
little different.
I wanted Your Dad Never Hugged You Enough, and now someone's raped. And that was too long to fit
That's a
into
long
the box.
arc.
Yeah.
You can't do that one.
No,
I just can't believe anyone would be raped in a prison. I don't know what this was.
I have no
That's
idea how this
ridiculous.
could possibly
I wanted
happen.
real women rape women, but I just.
You know, look, I remember the good old days when in women's prison.
When
they'd
the
be
guard
just-
would sneak in a frozen banana.
Yes.
Did I go too far already?
even know
And
how
it's hard to fit that in a pack of cigarettes.
It is.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
a long pack.
What are these,
Or a big
menthols? They're cools.
Okay.
Cultural
Cool
differences.
200s.
Yeah, I also wanted the promo code. You're crazy.
That could fit in there.
I
That
wanted
could fit in
But that
there,
could.
You just leave it
but
broad.
it doesn't allow apostrophes, and I wasn't okay with the grammatically incorrect
Oh,
I
you're
see.
right.
promo code.
That's
I
true.
wanted you so crazy Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
You're so crazy.
And then I wanted You So Crazy, Tyler Perry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And we all were like, let's stop.
I wanted the promo code. Is Medea Big Mama's house? And are we all acting like this isn't a ripoff because black talent and our white privilege doesn't allow us to? And that one was just too hard to remember.
Well, and it was too long as well.
It was also too long, but it was primarily that it was too hard to remember. Yeah. And Tyler Perry has already sued us. So he does that fast.
Oh, he does.
He's very, very quick with it.
He's on top of it. He writes lawsuits quicker than he writes crappy films.
Yeah, and he most quickly sues his gay thoughts.
That's true. Have you ever heard a commercial for one of his plays like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, before he like broke?
Tune into my play where I play a woman.
Well, it'd be like an urban play where it's like, you know, when he was alive, like the dad from Fresh Prince or like various people where it's like, there's too many people cooking eggs in the kitchen coming to the Fox Theater in Detroit. You're like, this just sounds racist.
Hey, come on down to the Civic Theater and find out who put too much pepper in the stew.
I hope you're my daddy this weekend.
That's every commercial on the R&B channel. Isn't it? Every single one. The car commercials are that way.
I listen to the one here, too, where the shows here are like, let's take callers, and it's everybody saying how great body image is.
Yeah.
They're like, I just said, let's have some It's always a white girl who calls in with a twang.
Yeah.
Who's like, we just got to love each other and respect each other's bodies, right, girl? Like, yeah.
And I'm like, now watch this Mexican sell cars with tits. Look, he's $4.50. I love the Ford.
They know how to advertise.
That's all it is. If you watch the Latino channel.
I love rapping law firms. That's not pandering.
Yeah, no, that's
not at all.
Did you get hit by a car? I'm going to make you lots of money by far.
Hey, I'm Lawyer Longcar, and I'm here to say your neck won't work, but I'll get you some pay.
Hey. It don't matter your race, you're going to be wearing a neck brace.
Yeah,
Hey.
but you have some cash, and by that I mean it's a 20-80 split. You take 20, I take 80.
Paralyzed from the waist down, but for the rest of your life, you won't be wearing a frown.
No, I turn that frown upside down when I come to town because you're brown, and you know that I got my sound. What?
What? That's the last word, Justin.
The best one.
Sound. I'm rapping. I didn't spend much money on this track. We didn't get the royalties to a Zantac. Hey!
Scary how close these actually are to the real
No, it
commercials.
really is.
Ice-T must be really suffering to do car
You ever see that guy who's like
Ice-T?
You ever see that guy who, and we're going to get into why we're banned from YouTube, just to let you know.
the important stuff.
But yeah, the important stuff. Do you ever see that one where the guy here in Texas, he's like, come on out, or whatever, go on out, or whatever it is for. He's like, if I can't beat the price from a local dealer, I'm just going to give it to you. It's like, hold on a second.
Really?
Clearly, you're going to beat the price,
Right.
Because even if you're making less profit, if you're selling it for 50 and an opposing car lot is selling it for 45, you're not gonna be like, well, I can't beat that. Zero.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
no,
not going to go down to that.
If I was the opposing car dealer, I'd be like, I just want to stick it to that guy. Here, I'm selling to you this for $0. Here's a signed quote. Take it to him and make him give you a car.
Yeah.
Go give another car dealership $20 to say their car's $14.
Yes.
And then go in.
I'm willing to take the loss just to screw that guy.
So, look, there's a lot of stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube here, and we'll tell you exactly. We'll show you the language from their very expensive counsel at YouTube that was sent to us yesterday.
Cost them thousands of dollars.
Cost them thousands of dollars. So, I'll take the small wins.
Yeah.
And the language is really scary because, well, first off, okay, let me tell you, I do have a question of the day, and I know you kind of have to answer this in chat because you can't answer it on YouTube, but you can on Rumble. How Orwellian is it that you can be suspended for covering an actual specific instance of rape if the rapist happens to be transgender? That's where we are, and I'll read you the exact language. But we have not heard back from YouTube yet.
Nope, as of the broadcast.
Now, we did get the standard hard strike, okay, to give you the story. You got the standard hard strike, and then we got a letter from legal counsel explaining why. Didn't get the time codes exactly as to why.
No.
But we only addressed one transgender story that day on that show.
We narrowed it down.
Yeah, so we were able to narrow it down.
Pretty specific.
I think it's 3 minutes of a 90-minute show has
Yes.
some potentially...
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it was yesterday, we'd be like, oh, come on, you got to do better than that.
Yeah.
give us a 5-minute window at least.
Right, we talked
Yeah,
about...
it had some potentially completely accurate information.
Yes.
Dave, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
No, it's still a problem.
It's kind of the
if
point.
we're going to talk about stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube, I do have a stinger.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, first, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to
All right.
that.
Good
Well,
thing
you know
I'm sure
what?
you
No,
know.
yes, absolutely. Because you know what? This whole show is stuff we can't talk about on YouTube. Because
right.
I'm pretty sure they don't want us talking about their legal counsel.
Screw 'em.
So this episode is things you can't say on YouTube.
It's audio.
Question about that.
Scintillating. So.
Was that on purpose?
Well, that's basically
The
what they allow us
mystery.
to
That's
do
what
on
you can
YouTube.
expect from this show.
Yeah.
When we no longer make any, well, actually, we don't make any revenue on YouTube. The truth is that right now it affects us zero. So
That was a live look in at our YouTube channel.
Look,
That's exactly what happened.
we got a hard YouTube strike, and here's the crazy thing. It's not a strike against the channel, to be clear. It's a strike against me, Steven Crowder.
Right.
Because I am not allowed to upload to a channel or stream to the channel Crowder Bits where there is no strike, to be clear. They've said that's a bypass. So it's not a punishment for the channel. It's not which is what people believe the policy is, right? This channel doesn't allow you to stream. In my case, it has been very clearly communicated several times. No. It's you. You, the human, are not allowed on the platform, regardless of channels that haven't violated the policy. That is a very clear, I would argue, look, it's a clear example of targeting wrongthink.
Right.
So, because it's no longer about policy.
Right.
It's about the wrong person on the platform.
Right. You can't post any videos at all, no matter what. Even if it was just like you and a cat, which we know people love.
Yeah, well, that was a problem because I was throwing the cat out a window.
Yeah, people
That's
don't
true.
love those.
They land on their feet. Turns out that doesn't matter if it's from 5 stories. I didn't know. There was only one way to find out.
Well, it did land on its feet. Its
It did.
legs just all broke.
Well, its legs were then through its shoulders.
Oh,
the point, I'm joking. People are like, I like cats.
Oh,
well, first
cats.
off, I don't. But I didn't actually do it. Don't be stupid. So,
I like some cats.
no.
If
You know
they're
what?
like dogs.
That's the point. That's the point. Everyone who's a cat person is like, no, you'd like my cat. I guarantee you. First off, I don't know why people who love cats feel the need to convince me that I also should love cats. Like, no, you'd like my cat. There you go. Look, that's a useful animal right there.
Yeah.
Right now, he's docile by the fireplace, and he will destroy anything that moves upon command. That's what I want.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you'll like my cat. First off, why does it matter to you that I would like, no, come see my cat. My cat, this is what I always say, my cat thinks it's a dog.
My fur baby.
Then get a dog.
Fur baby is really the creepiest term,
It's
isn't
disgusting, really.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes you think of a freak baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they're dressed.
It's like, yeah, no, I'm just into a little interspeciesism. Look at Fluffy. Hey, Fluffy. I got busy. I got busy with a tabby, and that's what happened. The cat's just limping around like a civil war.
me.
What is head wrapped like Jacob Marley?
What is this, Canada?
My friend who's
Legal there.
my friend who's Lebanese has had like 3 fur babies.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh.
It's true. They're a little hairy at birth.
Hey,
I joke
hey.
with it too.
Come in, say hello. Say hello to our guests. Hi.
That's the thing.
So, look, we got this. I will read the letter after, but we went through the show. This is, as far as we can tell, because we only addressed anything that involved the gender bender at one point in the show.
Right.
It was in a show with Alex Jones, and there was a sketch in there.
Alex, huh?
This is exactly what we found as the only possible time code for the. Of course, we're not supposed to show this on YouTube, but who cares right now?
Right.
Here you go, in case you forgot. Here's another story that's going on. We're ready for the story, right? Corda Black Garrett.
Awesome.
Okay.
Are we ready, though?
I don't know that I'm ever ready.
I don't know that we want to be ready.
But the Women's Liberation Front, I already hate this,
Yes, I do
the
too.
worst.
reported at least one woman at the Central California Women's Facility was pregnant after a transgender male prisoner was transferred there. Keep in mind, the male prisoner was permitted to transfer under the new California law, SB 132. So under SB 132, it allows biological males to use women's locker rooms, homeless shelters, and prisons to the point that now condoms have been issued within the prison.
What?
Yeah, this is part of the protocol to ensure that sex between inmates, which is illegal, by the way, would be safe. So they need to make sure that it's safe sex in an all-females prison where they cannot get pregnant. And so all women, condoms. pregnancy? Immaculate conception?
Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people, for there is born to you a baby in this cell, and this shall be a sign unto you of...
A virgin birth? A miracle?
No. Your cellmate, that guy dressed as a woman, he's going to rape you.
I'm a girl.
Repeatedly.
That read rough on the paper.
It really did.
It
Yes.
really did.
And it did.
Yes, still
and,
does.
And with good reason.
Yes, that's the
man.
whole point.
That standing up lady was pretty good looking.
There was a, you know what?
Hey.
I get it.
Ah.
I get it.
Mean.
So here's the thing. And I'm going to read this letter. That sketch, the entire joke was there was no setup. And since we are not allowed to discuss the reality of biological men in women's prisons and the likelihood of that being involved with a woman who was impregnated, we based it on the premise of immaculate conception and then Alex Jones as an angel. If that's that means that all comedy needs to be taken literally.
Every single.
Well, it also means that every single movie where there's something involving forced sex, like Shawshank, the Deliverance, the
Oz.
Accused, those all Oz, every episode of Oz 5 times.
Every single one.
Those should all be taken literally. That was all real.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was all absolutely.
all absolutely real.
And it's violence, to be clear.
And what are we supposed to assume, right? So we were talking about a story where people were getting pregnant, where they're handing out condoms, and we're like, this is a female prison. Is it the guards? No. We're seeing an instance, a rise of male transition to female, asking for a transfer. Do you think they're going into the cells and asking the ladies if they would like to have sex with a transgender person? Do you think that's what's happening? Because that's the only other option.
Could
there,
be.
right? It could be consensual.
Could be. My argument is I don't think that women should get pregnant in prison ever.
Well, probably
Yeah, like
not
at all.
Yeah.
If it's consensual pregnancy or rape pregnancy, I don't think that it should happen ever. It was a very generalized segment, but let me give you their exact email here. And this was sent on the day that the Loudoun County story was going viral. That's very important. This thing was poised to be over 1 million views by the end of the day, and we had a whole show on that segment. So this is the language from the very expensive YouTube legal counsel. On September 30th, Mr. Crowder uploaded another video that YouTube has determined continues his prior conduct. Thanks, Niedermeyer.
I wish they'd say Guru Crowder.
The video, entitled Special Guest Alex Jones and Great Reset, contains a segment that targets the transgender community in an offensive manner, for example, by indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women. Let me be clear about something here, okay? I have never said that all transgender people are rapists.
No.
I've never said that because I don't believe that. What I did say yesterday was, look, when you don't have, and this is what I said yesterday on the Loudoun segment, and I'm going to clarify why that matters for all of you here. This is not about us. This is not about, I can't believe I got suspended on Twitter. No, look, on the Loudoun County segment, I said, when you just allow people to claim gender, and there's no barrier to entry. We're not using biological sex. How do you decipher between people who actually believe they are transgender versus people who are trying to use the laws in a predatory manner? And by the way, it does happen all the time. And I'm not even arguing that, and we have a hit list here that's going to take me a while to get through, I'm not even arguing that all of these people are actually transgender. The point is, when a man can just say, I'm a woman, I want to use the girls' room, men understand that most men are pigs. And that's a problem. Yeah. It's a problem for women, mainly. It's not a problem for men because, even Dave could just ball them up and throw them out of the restroom.
It would take a while.
It might take a while.
A little bit.
But here's the thing, too, with this language. Indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women. Look, in Loudoun County, let me be clear here. Parents were lining up. I don't know how many.
There were over 100 parents. There
was over 100
to speak. I think it was like 125.
That's what I was saying.
But over 100.
This was after a female student had been raped. And yesterday, I didn't even say transgender. I said bisexual boy wearing a skirt. So that's the standard now. because I could be banned from YouTube and was very careful. I didn't want to say transgender because then you're misgendering even though the boy's in the girls' room because he's a bisexual boy in a skirt. He raped a female classmate. Let me be clear about this. If you have children watching, look, we're going to be discussing some tough subjects today. He forcibly anally raped a female classmate. It was confirmed by a rape kit. You have over 100 parents who are going to be up there voicing concern. Look, we have covered specific instances of rape. We have covered specific instances of women being impregnated in prisons, okay? But you absolutely need to be able to broadly make the argument that policies that involve transgender individuals in females' room can pose a rape threat to women. Why? If you're not allowed to oppose policy at all. Those parents were up there saying, or prepared to say, I don't know how many were allowed to speak, if any, hey, I have a problem with this proposed policy because I think it could pose a rape threat to my little girls. Now, they felt that way because a little girl had been raped. And then another little girl, when the school board didn't take enough action, another little girl was sexually assaulted by the bisexual boy in a skirt. Which I don't know, to me, seems like it could be a synonym for transgender at this point. I have no idea. There is no standard.
Yeah.
Now, if those parents voiced those concerns on YouTube, on Facebook, banned, silenced. So if you believe that boys are boys and girls are girls, and if you believe that boys or men should not be able to enter into female-only spaces because it poses a sexual threat to your daughters, to your sisters, to your wives, you are apparently committing violence. You are violating policy of the biggest companies, the most powerful companies that have ever existed. And how have they gained power? By controlling the entire flow of information throughout the world. So let me ask you this. How do you oppose a new bathroom policy at your school, in your state, if you're not allowed to say that, well, the reason I'm opposed to it is because I think it could be a danger? You're not allowed to say that.
Right.
That could be you. This is a very clear message because we didn't do that at all on that day in that sketch. That's not what it's about. Maybe it's an entirely coincidental that it happened on the day where we went in the paint hard on the Loudoun County case. And you know what? Yeah. I think that going in the paint hard is merited when a young girl is raped. That's me, Mr. Old-Fashioned.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to be very clear. We don't think we said anything wrong yesterday.
No, of course not.
We just don't trust that YouTube plays by the rules. So we pulled it down preemptively. I don't want anybody to be like, well, you knew because you pulled. No, we pulled it down because you don't play by the rules. You make a broad statement like this and don't give us any time codes and haven't responded. And by the way,
but their new rule from the legal counsel, they would absolutely be able to claim that covering the Loudoun County case is against policy.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing. When you make a claim like that, and this has been the argument the entire time, opening up these bathrooms, don't just think bathrooms, think showers as well, right? Opening up these facilities.
Yeah. Now I got it.
Right? Yeah, to claim that they're transgender, I can go into those facilities. Here's exactly what the school board said, word for word, basically. Does this happen all the time? Do we have boys that have transitioned to women molesting girls in bathrooms or sexually assaulting girls in bathrooms? Oh, so you're saying it never occurs? I would like to present evidence that it does. No, banned. You can't do that. You can't talk about that. You can't make that argument.
You're not allowed to present your argument preemptively, which is what one does in politics when discussing any policy proposals, and you are not allowed to discuss it as a post-game. When someone has been victimized, when someone has been forcibly anally raped by someone who's transgender, you're not allowed to discuss it beforehand, and you're not allowed to discuss it afterward. And that's why right now, look, this is when we fight like hell. That's the promo code. You can join up. Use the hashtag. This is really not about us. This is a message being sent. This will affect all of you. If you're a parent, and this is coming to your school, and you voice your concern, maybe not at a town hall, but a digital town hall, this policy, this rule says, oh, you can be banned. And by the way, let's go through this. Okay, let's go through this. Yeah. Oh, well, this doesn't happen. That's also their argument.
Yeah.
Well, that's also incorrect.
It just did.
Yeah, it just did, and it shouldn't. We shouldn't have to wait for it to just happen.
No. We should be able to talk about the potential threat doing this will pose.
When you're throwing anybody who's like that, whatever your preference is, into a prison
bisexual
system,
in a skirt. That's a new gender.
Bisexual in a skirt.
Yeah.
You're sending somebody to a place either or. They're gonna have a good time.
Yes.
Well, you know how
I mean, seriously, that's like if you watch a lot of prison specials like I do on Skinamax, you notice that. No, but for real, like if you watch prison specials, there's always a kind of feminine guy who hangs around who's a little bit transgender, who's like, it's all right if the mob boss will have sex. Like, this is just like, on TV. So it's like there is I have
no idea what you're talking about, but yeah.
No, but I'm telling you, because there's no girls in there.
Oh, is that why, Dave?
So you got to find the one that's the most girly, and it ain't
Tracy Morgan in Longest Yard.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When they cheerlead.
Yeah.
It's real nice.
Or really, think about it. Back then, Bluto Blutarski with the ladder at the sorority, all he needed to do was put on a wig and a fake pair of tits, and it's not a problem anymore.
No.
That's true.
By the way, you know how I know they agree with us? You know how I know? For all of history, we have not let boys go into women's locker rooms in any sports, or in prisons, we separate them. Do you know how? That tells you everything that you need to know. If this is totally not a problem, then why is that a problem?
Yeah.
Then we should have mixed locker rooms everywhere.
Unless you're Pablo Escobar. His prison was pretty dope.
Yeah, and Al Capone.
Yeah.
Nice. Riddled with the clap. But
that's true,
nice.
Yeah, he's fishing in a swimming pool, so it's not that great.
Right, yeah.
Ray Liotta's got some pasta cooking, so that's good.
So, look, let me go through a hit list here. Oh, it never happened. Now, I don't think that you need to argue and prove that it happens. The whole goal is to prevent it from happening.
But since you brought it up.
Dakota Neves of Massachusetts molested 2 4-year-old girls and distributed child pornography months after successfully advocating for trans bathroom privileges.
Oh.
Transgender prisoner Karen White carried out 4 sex attacks at a woman's prison. Pasha Thomas's 5-year-old daughter was allegedly assaulted by a male classmate in the school bathroom due to trans bathroom policies. Patrick Purcell sexually assaulted several females and was diagnosed with pathological lying and claimed transgender status in 2015.
Why was that guy around anything?
Madeline Harks, well, because he wasn't a pathological liar at that point.
See him?
But then that's also a good example of Patrick Purcell's. So I have to go back. There's so many of these. Patrick Purcell. Then afterwards, like, no, I'm not a pathological liar. I'm just transgender. Well, what does that? It means I've been living a lie. Oh, well, then all is forgiven, sir.
No, we didn't.
Ma'am, all is forgiven, ma'am.
Sorry.
I didn't know you were sad.
Why didn't you say so?
Madeline Harks was convicted of molesting 3 girls under 8 before he transitioned, and then sexually assaulted 2 female inmates in jail. That comes from the Vancouver Sun, so in Canada, not a problem. Katie Dolatowski, an 18-year-old trans woman in Scotland, attempted to assault a 10-year-old girl in a supermarket bathroom. Metro UK, all sources available at loudoscreditor.com. Darren Aggie Morager, I don't know if I have this name correctly because I hope I never have to read it again, was charged with 5 counts of indecent exposure for exposing himself to female customers at We Spa in Koreatown. Morager claims to be trans, but police said that that's a cover to get into women's spaces.
And there were huge protests over that, if you remember. Right? That was at the We Spa in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That happened over the summer, I think, sometime in early summertime, right?
And by the way, the point that we're making, again, I would never say all transgenders are rapists.
No.
But I am saying that you are creating a scenario where more rape can happen, and that can also happen at the hands of people who may, very well be faking transgender, using it as cover. The point is, you can't make a moral judgment because you're not allowed to. So this is a symptom of the same problem as someone who's actually transgender decides to get a little rapey. In 2012, Canadian Christopher Hambrook assaulted women in 2 women's homeless shelters in Toronto. He was able to gain access because of the state law, I would assume provincial law, that recognized self-declared gender identity. 2016, Shauna Smith, a 43-year-old Idaho trans woman, was charged with voyeurism after secretly photographing an 18-year-old woman in the Target fitting room. Target's bathroom policy allowed this to happen because they demonstrate their commitment to an exclusive experience in many ways, and that includes, I guess, an old Pentax. In 2020, a female inmate in Illinois claimed she was raped by a transgender inmate, and the jail covered it up. In an attempt to justify the transfer's defendant Sexton Calhoun Keeler and currently other known IDOC employees covered up the sexual assault of the plaintiff and tried to falsely classify it as consensual to keep it from being considered a PRAA violation. An Australian woman named Charlotte detailed being sexually assaulted in a public restroom when just 11 years old. I remember starting to cry, but this person would let out this fake sympathetic laugh and say, hon, don't worry, your auntie is here for you. My hands were frozen stiff, my vision was blurry, but I still remember everything. Anyway, I don't even want to read any more of this. This just goes on for a while. This is just a whole you know what? You don't need to go through the whole harrowing description, but it's certainly more detailed and was more corroborated than Blasey Ford's accusation. Look, I only have so much time. I don't know when #BelieveAllWomen changed, but apparently it changed when a man claimed that he was a woman. If it saves one life, if it stops one sexual assault, well, what do we just go through? A dozen? I could read you hundreds more, and I don't think you're surprised. And we know that YouTube isn't surprised.
Right. And I think it's really important to point out that, I mean, it seemed, I wasn't keeping score necessarily, but it seemed like half of those were people just saying, oh, I'm transgender, just to be able to take advantage of the system.
Right.
And I'm going to say the one guy especially.
Yeah.
With the beard and looking nothing like
totally,
a woman. Yeah.
Totally.
That's most today, just to be clear. I had a transgender serve me in Burlington, Vermont. True story.
Yeah.
Serve me a cup of coffee, and it was a guy with a goatee, his hair in a soccer man bun. He just happened to be wearing a muumuu.
Ah.
There was no other effort, and I noticed that the name tag said Dottie.
Ah. Well.
I think I had that guy serve me in the dressing room of a Burlington coat factory.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Jeez.
We're out of coats.
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
You don't
Seems we need to restock.
You don't rush to Burlington Coat Factory every time you want to dress like Missy Elliott?
Oh, my gosh. You know what I really was pissed off about at this claim was...
Gerald's like, who?
Who's Missy? Who's this Missy lady you're referring to?
It was really hard for her to get that. Like, she got $5 million, and it didn't work. It was, put your Burlington Coat Factory coat on.
It's
like
Miss Elliott.
Oh,
Miss.
sorry. It's Miss. It's ma'am. Now, sir.
Right. No, but the thing that pisses me off, it's like if they had a beef with us, and I want to make sure I couch this correctly.
Don't use the term beef.
Yeah. Well, if YouTube wanted to screw us for covering,
Let's change that one too.
let's go on.
If they had a fish with us.
Yeah.
If YouTube was angry with us and did not like the Archangel that we chose to play, said Archangel, or the person that was in that role, they could have been.
You mean Alex Jones? Do you mean Alex Jones? Look, this is the thing. If people want to target us for Alex Jones in a sketch, he's been on the show at least 3 or 4 times since he was banned from YouTube. Nothing there was a violation of the policies that existed on YouTube. That's why they made a new one.
But they be more specific. If you're going to say that the joke was about all, no, it wasn't. We were specifically covering transgender people that have gone from male to female that are incarcerated and have been transferred to women's prison.
And then women becoming pregnant.
Yes.
And we didn't even make the connection. Just to be clear, the joke was, of course you can't make the connection because these are females, and females can't impregnate female. I hate that I have to explain the joke. That's what makes me want to shoot myself in the face more than any of this.
Well, in Netflix, if we were on that, would have just said, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
But you have YouTube taking it down.
Right. There's going to be a walkout.
Right. Well, and I don't like that they're
prance out.
either.
A sachet out.
All 3 of their employees are going to protest about this.
I can't wait till they hire people based on merit.
Yeah.
So much talent lost.
One can dream.
Oh, no. Don't leave.
When you wish upon a cock.
Oh, you can't get that back. Well, no, and these were specific examples. We also, I know we
Wet dreams come true.
No, they don't. Nightmares come true.
That's
This
true.
is what happens.
I'm Jiminy Cockett.
Yes.
Just a penis with a little hat.
Tell me a lie, Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's another something about Mary. Instead, it's like, how did you get rid of the twigs and berries?
I've made a perfect wooden boy.
No beans or
I've
franks.
met a perfect wooden boy, and somehow I programmed into him that his nose will grow when he lies. And I live alone as a single white male.
Nothing weird about that at all.
Let the games begin.
I wish you were a real boy so I'd stop getting splinters.
He starts feeding Pinocchio wrong information and asking him, and putting him on quiz show so he gets it wrong. Tells him, like, by the way, you're 4'6". Really, he's 4'3". How tall are you, Pinocchio?
Yes.
Are you 4'6"?
Who's
Oh boy, I thought I was 4'6". This must be broken. It's working fine.
That's fine.
Keep talking. Wait till we get to the speed round.
What's your favorite food? Spaghetti. Say pizza.
You say pizza. Be sure to form it in the phrase of a question. What is pizza? Yeah, ask me about calzones.
If I tell the truth, does it grow back down? You don't need to know any truth.
Yeah. Don't worry. If it does, it happens to lots of puppets.
Just to be clear, not all puppeteers are using their puppets for nefarious purposes.
No, of course, just to be clear.
Or their conscience.
Just
I don't know if there are like puppeteer guidelines on any of these other platforms out there. I just want to make sure we don't run afoul of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole thing is weird. It's like, we're going to send you to Fantasy Island. Was it Fantasy Island? What was the island?
No.
Pleasure Island?
Pleasure Island.
Wait, what?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Pleasure Island. I have a bag full of quiz questions for you.
Well, it's also Small Wonder, where the first episode of that show, the guy's making his 12-year-old doll in his bedroom in the 80s, and he's just like, almost finished.
Yeah.
Why?
Hey, don't you have a workshop? You don't know nothing about this. Close it.
No, I wanted to have a daughter around.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's weird, man.
I know, yeah.
Why is it
well,
weird?
we do have some statistics. I don't know if you want to go through.
Yeah, let's go
really
through those.
quickly. So, this gets a little nerdy here, but so we've covered. Okay, fine. You said that this doesn't happen. School board says, do we have any cases of this? Okay, we just presented some cases of this to you. We wanted to let you know, hey, it does happen. Who knew?
Hey, does that work both ways with like climate change? Like you said, Florida would be gone.
I think it's still there.
You said the Great Lakes would be gone. Hey, are there any Great Lakes that are gone? Are there any Great Lakes that aren't above average levels, if not at record levels?
Still great.
How dare you?
No, she's above.
No, it only goes one way.
Oh,
well, it hasn't happened, therefore it can't.
Right.
Okay.
So in 2011, there was a peer-reviewed study. I'm going to read some here. So if I'm looking down, I want to get this right. So of 324 matched participants who underwent legal sex reassignments from 73 to 2003. Okay, so that seems pretty broad, right? Now, I know this is going to shock you. Male to female trans retained a male pattern regarding criminality. Oh, they didn't soften their stance on criminality. Okay, fine, whatever. Transsexual individuals were more likely to be criminal than transsexuals in the same cohort, right? So comparing these together, it's like, okay, that's a broad statistic. Okay, so they retain male criminality and they're a little bit more likely to be criminals. Okay, regarding any crime.
Is that sexual specific or just saying crime?
It's saying criminal just in specific.
And I'll explain to that. I have a point I want to make on that in a second.
Yep. So and I think we had this on the overlay she just brought up. Regarding any crime, male to females had a significantly increased risk for crime compared to female controls, but not compared to males. Okay.
Now, let me explain something here really quickly. People understand this is the same reason when they used to have the argument like boys are smarter than girls, girls are smarter than boys. Look, okay, I can give you a very definitive answer. On average, when you look at the bell curve, girls are smarter than boys. The average IQ. Okay, here's the bell curve. When you come to geniuses who are in the top 1%, there are no girls. There are no women left. On average, more women occupy that upper end of the bell curve. They are above average intelligence when compared to males. Men occupy both ends of the spectrum. They occupy the end of geniuses. There are no girls there. And they also occupy the end of functionally retarded. There are no girls there.
It's a trade-off.
The same with men and crime. They occupy an extreme end of the crime spectrum. The truth is, with middle crimes like you're talking about parking tickets, you're talking about nonviolent crimes, females commit on average the same as males. The issue there is when you look at serious violent crime, it gets to a point where it is exclusively male behavior. And that is because of the way men are hard. There have been behavioral scientists who have studied, there have been clinical psychiatrists who have studied this. It is because of the way the male brain works for the same reason that women can, multitasking isn't a thing, but they're able to handle different stimuli and men get very focused and men can get very focused on the wrong track. So men populate almost all of our prisons. A huge percentage of our prisons. It's for that same reason that they occupy almost the entirety of our super, super high-end designers and engineers. They occupy both ends of that spectrum. Women are more reasonable. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So you get to a point, you don't see, statistically, it doesn't even show up, women committing these horrible crimes. It's only men. And statistically, the guys who are crazy, the Einsteins, the Howard Hughes, it's only men due to the extremist behavior that men have a proclivity toward that women in general do not. That's the truth. So both people are right. Women on average, smarter than men in the bell curve. When it gets to geniuses, it's almost exclusively men. And when it gets to violent serial criminals, it's almost exclusively men.
Right.
Yeah.
As if we needed studies to tell us that. I don't know. You could
but even if you make it to that aviator genius level, you're still cautioning taping off your office
piss,
and
so.
In other words, if women want to complain about that, it's like, look, if you want to piss on jars and grow those fingernails so long that they become like Jerry curls, be our guest.
Yeah, it's not a fun existence.
I think women are better at multitasking.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Cut off your cock. Okay, go ahead.
No, you don't want to do
I didn't want to go into more.
No, but yeah. So Dave, you asked a really good question just a second ago. Like is this just crime in general or is this sexual crime? We're getting to sexual crime now. So different study, Ministry of Justice, United Kingdom, 2020, Freedom of Information request. I didn't know they had freedom over there. I'm sorry. I thought that was out of style now. So 59% of male-born trans women were sexual offenders.
How many?
50, and this is prisoners.
This is prisoners.
On prisoners.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
59. Okay. 59%
of male-born, let me be clear, 59% of male-born trans women in prison were sex offenders.
Yep.
Okay.
So just to compare that to just
That's
females
what they
in
were
general,
there for. That was not committed while they were there.
You know what? Doesn't matter.
Kinda. I mean, not really.
Mean, either way, it's in other words, if they went there for sex crimes, or then they were like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm here with women. I can commit a bunch of sex crimes." It's a problem.
It's a bit of an issue.
Steven, let me tell you something. prison can change you.
Yeah. So just for comparison, I'm going to give you two things to compare this to. 3.3% of female-born women. I hate that we have to say female-born. 3% of females were sexual offenders.
Hey, can someone out there give us a percentage point, meaning how many? So from 3.3% to 59%, I don't want like that means that there's a 56% difference.
No.
How many times more likely is a male to female trans inmate to be a sexual offender compared to
That's
biological
right
women?
Around 20 times more likely.
Something like that.
Yeah. So maybe just a little under 20.
Oh, it's got to be higher.
Okay. So the other one I give you males, right?
Just males, so non-transgender males.
Right.
So this is because and it's way higher than women is 3.3.
Yep.
Males
16.8.
16.8. So it's
Males
still
are-
a serious multiple of female inmates. In other words, you go
Right.
female inmates down here committing sex crimes, right? Not very common.
Like 6 times more likely.
Way more likely, 6 times more likely for just an average basic bitch pumpkin spice male to commit rape or sexual assault, 16%. And then male to female trans, 59%.
In prison.
That's a majority.
Right.
A majority, look, according to this study, which is the Ministry of Justice in the United Kingdom,
2020.
a majority of male to female trans inmates are sex offenders. Most of them are. If you were just to, cover the floor with male to female sex offenders and throw a dart, a non-lethal dart, a dart with like the rubber tip, you'd be most likely to hit a rapist.
Yeah.
Lawn
it
darts.
is. Well, and
Yes.
two, going back to what we
In
said,
a thunderstorm.
it would be more accurate to say that male to female transgender prisoners in the United Kingdom are sex offenders. It would be more accurate by 10% to say that, right?
Yeah.
So 10% more are. If I said it the other way around, it'd be like, well, actually only 41% aren't.
Yeah.
That's the other side of the coin there. All right, so let's go to the California.
And that's the thing the left will be like, hey, just so you know, just like I'm going to say, 2/3 of Republicans believe the election involved cheating.
Right.
A third of Democrats do. Why don't you lead with that? That's insanely high. They're like, well, just so you know, 41% of male to female trans don't commit any sex crime at all.
Good.
Okay, I'm concerned with the majority of them in prison.
But this shows that, there are people who are seriously born with this issue of becoming transgender, where I do think they're more sensitive, more female, whatever it may be. And now it shows how many people are faking it and just attacking people.
We don't know what percentage of them are faking it versus.
No, we don't.
There's
but
also
I mean,
a lot
think
of these
there's
people.
clearly an example that it's happening.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has happened. Unfortunately, we also have examples of people who are long-time transgenders who lived as such, and they're also much more likely to commit sex crimes.
It seems like both are a real problem, and it would behoove us to study that and try to figure it out.
Look, is anyone surprised when it's a 42% attempted suicide rate? You don't have that anywhere else in the demographic. That would suggest some kind of mental proclivity toward extreme behavior, and I don't think it's helping people to simply enable it. I don't want 42% of transgenders. 41%, depending on the stat you use. It's right in there. It's very rare that you get multiple studies that come in that 41, 42%. Like they're all like within a point of each other, pre-op and post-op. I don't want nearly half of all transgenders to attempt suicide. I want that to be lower. Guess what doesn't work? You saying, you're all good, you're a woman. It doesn't help. It makes it worse. And it makes it potentially slightly worse. People are afraid to study it, but we know at least 1% worse, which really is statistically insignificant, if you go through the surgery. Let me guess. This is an inference now. That's the data. The inference is, I would imagine that if you have a transgender individual, 41%, 42% likely to commit suicide, okay, goes through transition where you have a man, put him on estrogen, which, by the way, we know causes depressive symptoms, cut off his cock, I don't think he comes out ahead. I think when you say you're transgender, and now we're going to give you the surgery, which may make it impossible for you to ever achieve sexual climax again, I'd off myself. I'd be like a Japanese businessman, just plummeting.
Jeez.
It wouldn't even be like, you'd just be like, oh, there it goes. That's what you should, like, anytime you see, I'd be like, oh, there goes another guy who cut off his penis.
Well, if your fascination is to some degree with sex, and then you take away the ability to derive pleasure from it, I would imagine that's extremely dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
To yourself.
Your hate speech just now was dangerous, yes, and I don't condone it. All right, Gerald, do you want another study?
All right, so
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insinuate that humans like to bang.
Yeah.
I don't know where you get that from, Dave.
That's crazy.
Maybe, look, if you want to come
Guess
prepared to these shows,
you need to stop listening to the Bloodhound gang.
This guy.
So in 2009, let's come back over. Let's come
Which,
back.
by the way, is the new AT&T slogan. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's get 5G on the Discovery Channel. What?
Oh, really? That's weird.
AT&T has the most reliable network. And they're so lazy.
No.
Really?
It's right in there. Yeah.
But see how believable it is? It was not even, wouldn't even surprise
That's
me.
the whole point. It's like, oh, they suck.
AT&T we know is better than Verizon. T-Mobile can suck a dick and burn. Go ahead.
No,
It's better than Cricket, where it's just like a guy. It's like, how many hoes you want? Cricket.
I got to sign me up for that.
Throw this phone in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, continue
it's
with the
just
study.
shooting
So
a guy,
that was Ministry of
breaking it.
Justice. That was UK.
UK. We're gonna
Let's
go
come
over-
stateside.
We're going to go over to the bastion of freedom, love, and hope, California.
Oh.
2009 California report and corrections, the Corrections, Department of Corrections, again, 20.5% of transgender sample in the study were registered sex offenders. Okay, I don't think 20.5% of males are registered sex offenders.
Well, in the prison, it
Higher.
was 16% in the UK, so that's the only comparison that we have.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. In the general male population, so 40% of transgender inmates had previously engaged in sex work.
Which doesn't mean that's a crime.
No, not at all.
Just means there's a sexual focus.
There's definitely tends to be a bit of a sexual focus. So, and we're basically looking.
Yeah,
at
I don't
this
care
time-
about that.
No, that's fine.
No. I'm just saying that if they're if 40% of
I mean, I care if they overcharge.
Yeah. By the way, you know they're staging Netflix are staging a walkout on October 20th.
Are they?
Dave Chappelle, all the transgender employees.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
You know Eddie Murphy's driving by in a limo. Just get in.
Comedians and
Officer,
cars.
I was trying to bring these 9 genders home.
Come on, get in the car. Look, I got a cricket on my shoulder. Dreams come true.
So, and I think it's helpful as well.
I love it.
Hey, Pinocchio, shut the fuck up.
I love Eddie
Nightmares.
Murphy so much, but all that leather may have been a clue.
Yes.
I mean,
But I love Eddie Murphy.
I love him.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
so one of the things that we need to do too is look at, okay, why are males that have transitioned to females now kind of invading traditionally female spaces, right? Spaces that we have decided to protect and segregate.
Which,
Basically.
by the way, a big part of that was from the feminist movement, too, to be clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't want to say men always supported it, but when you look at like Title IX, a big part of it was feminists saying there needs to be equal opportunity and women need to be safe. And there are parts of it that I agree with,
Right.
and there are parts of it that I don't, like university tribunals. But the parts with
Yeah.
So in other words, this is something just to understand. This wasn't spearheaded. Right by I don't know. You can pick Strom Thurmond
Right.
or Mitch McConnell. This was something that was a movement du jour from liberals.
Yeah. So in 2016, liberal favorite who could possibly be still controlling the president, we have no idea. Barack Obama, his administration expanded Title IX guidance for gender identity and bathroom use in schools. So I got a quote for you here. As a condition of receiving federal funds, if you want money that is already yours that we're just giving back to you, I just wanted to translate that for people. A school agrees that it will not exclude, separate, deny benefits to, or otherwise treat differently on the basis of sex any person in its educational programs or activities unless expressly authorized to do so under Title IX or its implementing regulations. Okay, you set the stage for us. The department treats a student's gender identity as the student's sex for purposes of Title IX and implementing its regulations. So what you just said, I can't discriminate based on any of these things, and now this is one of those things. Okay, this means that a school must not treat a transgender student differently from the way it treats other students, of the same gender identity.
Yeah.
So whatever they say they are, part of the problem is you can't say a word against
You can't say a word about it. And I just wish we could time travel back to 2008 to the Obama who, ascended to the presidency, who opposed gay marriage. And see if he would have processed this.
He wouldn't
if
have liked
he could
that.
travel back
Yeah.
as the ghost of presidential future and be like, "Ooh, Obama, you're going to allow boys with cocks and dresses to be in ladies' restrooms." Like, no, stop with the slippery slope bullshit.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I don't even like it when two dudes look at each other wrong. I oppose gay marriage. You could tell me I'm going to have some man who puts on a dress and clown makeup going into kids.
No, not going to happen.
Get the hell out of here.
No, you're crazy.
I gotta go smoke crack with Bill Ayers. I'll be back.
By the way,
I've sampled things at parties.
And by sample, I mean I brought it to the party, hid it in the closet, so nobody else could partake. Took it back home.
Did you also smoke pot listening to Tupac in law school at Harvard?
It was crack.
No, I'm a real black person.
Oh my gosh! No, look, I think.
Come on, look at this skin. I don't have the black. I don't have black privilege. I gotta go in the paint.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't need to fake listening to Biggie. I listen to Biggie. Yeah, that's like him or not, he was authentically black as opposed to.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that he was raised by white parents and never met his black dad, and then decided to throw them under the bus.
But compared to Kamala.
Yeah,
I'm blacker than Kamala.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So, by the way,
In
a
heart.
lot of people thought that this was like, the Obama administration doing what they said they were going to do. Do you realize that he did it on the way out the door? He basically threw a landmine into the middle of the White House and said, good luck.
Yeah.
Right? He did it in 2016. That's also when Donald Trump was elected president, came into the office.
He basically
in
did like
2017.
when kids would go number 2 in a high school, and kids would chop off the end of the Axe body spray bottle and
can't
just throw it.
Can't
well,
chop.
you just smack it off, and then
we
you
can't
throw
do that
it.
either.
Yeah, you can.
Well, it's like
whack off the tip and throw it under like a
I don't
a
think you
fumigation
understand
bomb.
what I'm saying.
It was like Clinton with NAFTA. Just like, they're going to blame Bush.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. So, by the way, before we move any further, again, smash that Rumble button. Hit the plus sign. Smash it. Smash it. 9. Okay.
That's so true.
So speaking,
Oh my God.
make sure you guys take all the W's off the keyboards.
yeah.
Not gonna get it. By the way, speaking of
You know
Donald
that George
Trump-
W. Bush, it took him a while to catch. Like,
huh? What?
Whatever.
they're just sitting there looking at him probably for 5 minutes, and the security cameras in the Oval Office. Like, I'm missing vowels.
Is there a W missing out of this? I think there should be a W.
That's not a vowel. The point remains.
Fair point.
Not even to take away from. I don't want to break from this, but did you see the Christian Bale movie Vice?
Yeah, I did.
And I just look. I'm not for a political reason at all. I do love the scene as him, Sam Rockwell as George Bush talking to Dick Cheney, where Dick Cheney's like, "I just want to take on more of the menial tactics, like foreign affairs, weapons." Like he goes through everything that's important, and George Bush is just like, "Yeah, I like that. I like that. You do it." And he just keeps eating ribs.
I like it.
He's just handing him the presidency without even realizing it. Like clearly it probably didn't happen, but it's a funny scene to watch.
I like it.
I will look. I know and I can't stand Liz Cheney. I will forever admire Dick Cheney for when he leaned in. I believe it was John Edwards after he brought up his lesbian daughter.
Yeah.
He leaned in. It wasn't on a hot mic that he didn't know. I warn you, language coming. He leaned in to shake his hand after they had a debate, and he said, "You can go fuck yourself for what you said." I was like, "Look at me.
Yeah.
You can go fuck yourself for saying that." And I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, when people say Donald Trump isn't, cut from the same cloth, the swamp monster's like, no one does that.
No, and I love it. Speaking of Donald Trump, this action was rescinded.
You know that John Edwards was
Donald
peeing in his pretty little panties.
Oh, he was. He just handed him a card to Halliburton. It's like, we make weapons.
And we can find you.
So you're right. This is important. This was rescinded under Donald Trump.
Rescinded under Donald Trump. Boom. He got rid of it. Donald Trump thought. I guarantee you, Obama was like, "There's no way he's going to rescind this. He'll lose so much, public support." And
Yeah.
And one of the things he's like, "Ha, get rid of that. That's a dumbass law." Biden then issued an executive order supporting trans rights, including restroom access. And I know one of our researchers out there today, who shall remain nameless, I don't want to give away anything, was actually looking at this. This is part of a current bill that's coming up, so maybe we can cover this next week, where they're trying to make California's laws that they've instituted for the state apply federally.
Yeah.
Right. So that's this
just to be clear, all of this is framework so that when YouTube doesn't abide by laws, just to be clear, people, social media sites don't abide by the actual laws that we have, and they create new ones. In other words, if you're in a single-party consent state like Project Veritas, and you are a whistleblower, and you document someone breaking the law, and they say, "I don't want that video up there," YouTube will take it down. We've had that happen.
Yeah.
So that actually flagrantly goes against constitutional law, and it goes against state law in the United States. But they will create new laws and rules where they don't exist. For example, you cannot you cannot indicate that a transgender individual could be a potential rape threat to women. Now, this is a way when it's convenient to enforce a law, however, big tech runs them. That's a Section 230. This entire process here is designed to create a federal framework that big tech can use and say, "Well, it's out of our hands. Look, you can't do this because a man is a woman if he puts on a dress." That's where this is going, and they've made it clear, if you express concern, if you express disagreement, it's the equivalent of violence.
Right. And it's also hate speech. They said that in there as well, in the letter to you, that this was hate speech. again, that nebulous thing that you cannot define. I have yet to see somebody give me a good definition that lets me know exactly what I cannot say.
Hate speech of the same guy who, by the way, we talked about this. Blair White's scandal was that I was too nice to Blair White, so I must not believe the transgender stuff. The scandal with me is that I give gay people hugs and treat them well.
How dare you?
And then also say, I probably think that you shouldn't be, having unprotected anal sex in truck stops.
That's hate speech.
Doesn't mean I don't hate you.
Why do you hate truck stops?
Well, look, there's a lot of reasons that I hate truck stops.
Name them.
Primarily that I was sexually assaulted in one.
Oh, that's not true.
No, it's not true.
It was a deep thought for a moment.
Not true for him.
Well, he liked it. In 2017, just to give you an idea, in Canada, we saw this coming, right? Jordan Peterson's whole thing that kind of blew up was Bill C-16 that he fought against with transgenders, right? Making it basically criminal to refer to them outside of their preferred pronouns. It included them in all of these other things. I'm not even going to go through the details.
Yeah, we don't even need to read the quotes here.
Right?
Look, this is the thing. We had Jordan Peterson on before. Any other American show had him on. We covered it on the website, Louder with Crowder. He, by the way, used the preferred pronouns of most of his students. He just said, I will not be compelled. I won't sign on to compelled language. I don't think that you get to change words and force people to use them or arrest them. Keep in mind, this is a country where comedians have been arrested, and so have pastors in Canada for wrong think and for hate speech. Jordan Peterson is actually quite liberal on a lot of this. People don't understand. He just said, I will not allow the government to compel language, so I'll oppose it.
Yeah. Well, and so going back to California in 2019, California Democratic Senator Scott, Wiener wrote.
He's also the guy. He's also the guy who spearheaded the non-consent laws. He's the guy where if you have a festering AIDS-riddled penis, you don't have to notify a partner when you fornicate with them.
Wait, you don't?
No, that was his priority.
Oh, SB 239. Is that what you're talking about?
That was part of his 9-point agenda when he got into office. The other 8 points were just naked bodies on the wall.
I wish I had tickets for a plane that just said California and a little brief suitcase that I could just leave with right now.
Right.
Hey, where's he going? Off.
The land of the freedom.
To spread my seat.
Just a leather chain dangling from it. Whoa, let me get that in there.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
that's a tough day at TSA.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
How do I explain this? So, yeah, he's known for the HIV thing, which, gosh, I thought that was a problem. I thought you had to let somebody know that, hey, by the way, before we have sex and I give you this, deadly disease potentially that's treatable now, but if Fauci had his way, it wouldn't have been.
Well, he refers to it the
thought
gift of
morally
life.
it would be the right thing to do.
Morally? No, of course not. Why would you do that?
Well, by the way, the reason that this was on the books, too, we had a guy on the show, Chad with AIDS. Chad Felix Green, who's great. He has HIV. And he was raped by someone. And there's this whole community in the gay community called bug chasers and gift givers who want to get AIDS, HIV, because they feel like it makes them a part of a club.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, bud.
Yeah.
Dave has a shirt.
Found him.
No, but
that's
I
your
know,
problem.
I know
is
it's real,
you
though.
give too much. And he talked about it. He was not a bug chaser, but he got involved in this community, and there was a gift giver who raped him. And so he got HIV. So this is an actual problem. The reason that the law was being proposed, that it was before people, because they said this is a problem, and we should make it so that if someone has HIV AIDS, they need to disclose it before having sex with someone. This guy said, no, that's discrimination, because it would stigmatize having unprotected sex with someone if you have AIDS.
I'm okay with that being stigmatized.
What a weird gift giver.
Yeah.
It's like asking Santa for a bike and you shoot your dad. Like, this isn't what I wanted. I wanted a bike.
Well, I've got a surprise present for you later. What is it? Better have a drink first.
Yes,
He
go
was
ahead.
just look. They're just
You'll spoil the surprise.
Enjoy sitting on your new bike.
There's no seat.
There's no seat. Oh, I know. And why does the thing that the seat's on mechanically every pedal? It's a Dr. Seuss Wen Wuzzle.
Yes.
When Wuzzle.
The Wen Wuzzle.
Better chop that wind muzzle off.
Oh, man.
All right. So his other thing that he was known for, the other raison d'etre, I love using your terms inappropriately, male-born trans women inmates to enter women's prison campuses. Oh,
well,
so
you used it correctly.
I did. I know. I was just trying to pitch you off. Didn't work. You didn't take the bait.
No, I didn't.
Look at you. And also in the UK, prison service instructions allow male-born trans women access to women's campuses, and now 1 in 50 male prisoners identify as trans, according to the Daily Telegraph.
Wow.
1 in 50. I wonder. If
Or
you
as we call it, progress.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder why there would be this rise potentially in people identifying as transgender. If you're surrounded by men all the time and you're like, well, look, I'm going to do some time. I'd rather be with the women.
I will tell you my exact reasoning as to maybe why that's the case.
Okay.
So let's say in a hypothetical world, of course, let's say my daughter was raped at school.
Hypothetically.
Okay? Hypothetically.
And hypothetically, it's like somewhere on the East Coast.
Somewhere on the East Coast, hypothetically. My daughter was raped at school by a bisexual boy in a skirt.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. Yeah. And the school board tried to sweep it under the rug, told me that they didn't believe my daughter, even though there was a rape kit conducted. And then the boy went on to actually sexually assault another girl. Now, if someone raped my daughter, hypothetically, I could kill them. Now, hypothetically, what would happen is if a judge said, hey, I understand that they raped, but you can't go around killing people, especially in skirts. I'd be like, I understand, Judge. I will take the sentence, and I will take life in prison. However, I'd pull up my skirt. I'm a lady now. That would be my plan.
And you can't question me about it.
And you know what I would do? If ever I were sent to prison for life, I would absolutely be like, I'm a woman, and it would be so easy for me. They're like, you can't make that. Look, you've been on air. No, this is the whole point. Right? This is the catalog. They always accuse people on the right of, they're secretly sexually repressed. I'd be like, that's true. I only did this show because I was sexually repressed. I was hiding the fact that I was living a lie. I was transgender this whole time. They're like, look, there's hours upon hours. I'm like, I know, hours and hours and millions of people on every single show. The point is, I was always a woman. See, didn't you see? My controversy was crying for help. Hold on, I'm smearing lipstick on and doing eyeshadow. Really, the whole time, my dad never hugged me enough, and he was macho, and I'd like to go into female prison.
That just makes common sense.
You just have to follow the penis, Stephen. So
that's true. Yeah. The scientific.
And if they would say, no, we heard you say it on air, and then point to the show, I'd be like, that was a cry for help.
That's going to get clipped out of context.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Stephen Crowder says he's a trans.
I have always felt like I am a woman if I go to prison.
if.
He should.
You go to prison.
Show up as a transgender. We'd never be kicked off YouTube.
You'd be untouchable.
Is that the wrong thing to say?
No, it's absolutely correct. When I was dressed as a transgender, Stephanie, that's how I got an interview with Wendy Davis at the Women's March, and my wig and hat flew off. And
you thought the jig
was up. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I just got into it. She's like, no, that's totally fine. And I was like, tell me about pussy economics. Don't grab my pussy. Ha 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 ha. I'm kidding. You can grab it anytime. And the whole, I was allowed to behave horribly.
Sure.
Disturbing.
She gave interviews, by the way, that day to no one else.
Oh, that's awesome.
To no one else. She was walking like, I'm not taking interviews. I was like, even for a transgender? Well, I guess I have a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Our wigs fly off all the time.
You should do a segment, Transgender Privilege, where we just take you and let you say the most awful
Oh, we did that. We did it with the gay privilege at the mall.
Right. We did gay privilege, not transgender privilege.
Yeah.
Well, there's the new thing, right? So it's the newest thing that gets the privilege.
Yeah, look, and the thing is, let's be clear. No one here is, like we've said, look, with Blair White was here. Yeah. We've had plenty of transgender people on the show. You would never treat them poorly.
No.
You would never, and you would never bring up, I would never bring up to a transgender person, like, by the way, if you're sentenced to life, I think you should be with the men. Wouldn't come up. I still hold that opinion. You don't have to express all your opinions all the time. The issue is if someone asks you about it, to stand firm and be true to what you believe. That doesn't mean that you have to be hateful.
Right.
Just like it's not hateful to say, this person raped 2 girls, and I think that's a problem. I would never say that all transgenders are rapists because I don't believe it. Of course I don't believe it.
We're just covering the news.
Well, 1 in 50 is just a lot, and I think it's okay to point that out and say that there are people out there who are really like this, and then there's criminals out there who are using this as a loophole to hurt other people.
And that was the argument that all conservatives, look, you can go through the list.
I'd argue real leftists would agree with you on that.
Absolutely. But conservatives were straw man because what happens is, unlike what we do, where we show what the left says, right? We show you a clip. I try and steel man it where I go, listen to what they're saying, listen to the context. What would happen is Ben Shapiro, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, take all of these people. They were all saying and always saying, I am not suggesting that all trans people are rapists and that they're simply going to use this bathroom law to rape people. What I am suggesting, and they all shared this opinion, is that this makes it very easy for sexually predatory men to gain access to a place which they didn't have before, which could absolutely prove to be dangerous for women. That was always the argument. And the left said, the right says that all transgenders are rapists. That's not what they said then. No. It's not what we're saying now.
No, and the village could protect the women because we're like, oh, we see someone who looks like a man going into a women's restroom. That is always going to be wrong. Sir, you're going into the wrong restroom. We didn't have to worry about, did I hurt your feelings? I was worried about, were you going to molest somebody or rape somebody or assault somebody in that restroom?
Right.
And now you've made it so blurry that I can't say that anymore.
Right.
I can't go up to anybody and go, hey, I mean, did you do the bottom too? Or is this real? Like, what's going on? Are you a man? Are you a woman? What's going on here? You're going into this place now, and I can't say anything about it. That was a argument, like you said, the entire time.
Yeah.
And we've prioritized the feelings of a few over the safety of women.
Well, it's like when we were talking about, I was about to say Fauci and fades.
What?
We were talking about Fauci and AIDS.
Ah, that was close.
So remember, Dr.
Moments of
Fauci
Biden.
said, and by the way, this is like the Bernie Sanders thing. When I do the Fauci, I know that's not real.
Yeah.
Really, Fauci talks like what I bring is the truth. Okay, I can do a Fauci impression. I just don't feel like it because I don't like him. So I want to make him seem more annoying.
I do a terrible one. Basically, mine's just a jerky boy's voice.
Well, yeah, that's why Fauci keeps asking why you kicked his dog.
Yeah, it's like they broke my glasses and told me I didn't cure AIDS.
But when he was out there, he said there is nothing intrinsic about homosexual behavior and AIDS, right? That's what he said.
Yeah.
And then he said, and I tried to extend an olive branch to the gay community. Well, oh, hey, hold on. Why? Why? Here's the point. Dr. Fauci and the left at that point were more concerned with hurting gay people's feelings, and so they lied about AIDS. Who do you think most died from AIDS? Gay people. While you don't want to hurt feelings, I don't want them to die. You say there's no connection between homosexual behavior or demographics and HIV or AIDS, and I say, hold on a second. Actually, there is, and there are two behavioral patterns that if you avoid, decrease your chances of getting AIDS from very high to 0%. Don't have unprotected anal sex, particularly with men, and don't use dirty drug needles. You weren't allowed to say that. That was hateful. If that was out there, if Fauci had said that, you think fewer people would have died? But we were more concerned about hurting feelings than saving lives. And we're on that same track now. We're more concerned about not hurting feelings than we are about the 59% of male to female transgender inmates in the UK who are sex offenders. We're more concerned, the school board, about keeping up appearances, love, than 2 young girls being raped. Feelings matter. I get it. Feelings cannot supersede actual dangers, murders, deaths from diseases, rapes that are largely preventable. No one is saying that people can't have feelings and those shouldn't be taken into account when we're having conversations. You can't do so at the cost of reality and facts and truth.
Yeah, and your feelings are always real, but they're not always reliable. Right?
Absolutely true.
So, in this case,
anyone has a wife knows that. Am I right?
Very much so not
Old
reliable.
ball and
Stop
chain,
it.
right?
Old ball and
everybody?
chain.
Hey, so I don't know if you'd like to go. That's
80s
all of our
comedy.
statistics for today.
Well, this is
We're gonna
where
do some
I will. Here's I would usually say piss off YouTube,
Right, yeah. We can't do that.
but we're not doing piss off YouTube, and so I think today this will all be on Rumble. I guess probably.
Yeah, all
So
of
what I will just say is smash that Rumble button. So smash that Rumble button. This is usually where we would go off YouTube and take your chats. Today is a little bit different if you guys have some questions. And, of course, the promo code, if you're watching on Rumble or if you're listening on audio. I'm looking at you, you Apple retard. I want you to
No, they're nice people.
consider joining Mug Club. $20 off, fight like hell. Or at the very least,
Touch their ears.
Yes. So is this, we want to take some chat?
Yeah. I want to see if we have any good chat over here. Do we?
We do.
Ah, all right. Yes.
All right. John Farr wants to know, why is the transgender community not upset with all of this? There are people using their community to escape these horrible crimes.
That's a good question.
That's true.
That is a very good question. I think there are some who are upset, but it's not a loud enough voice to
Be
change
vocal.
course direction. It's to correct this course.
Yeah. We need you guys to be a little bit more. We need you people to be a little bit more vocal.
Kind of like we
Don't wanna
need,
say guys.
Muslims to be more vocal when there's terrorist attacks. And I don't mean a
Right.
few American Muslims who say that's bad. I mean people in these Islamic countries. I mean people here who are championing women's rights, people who are championing gay rights, who aren't even Muslim. You need to be clear. It should upset you enough to correct course. But again, the reason why, we don't want to hurt feelings.
Yeah. Why isn't Women's Lib going after this? Why?
Well, they're
aren't
called TERFs.
Yeah.
That's what happens. They're called TERFs. Yeah. So like J.K. Rowling, who's obviously a noted feminist, obviously a noted leftist, is a TERF. So a lot of women, I had back when this was on in Michigan, this show, I had a debate between a lesbian and a transgender individual about women's only spaces. And it got really pretty heated. This lesbian was angry. She was going to the body like you never seen, Rock. And
we're in her space, though.
Right. And she was talking about how there are no women's only spaces anymore and how this has all changed and how uncomfortable it was and how people don't understand that this affects women, it affects lesbians, and to just tack on T to LGB, she said, wasn't the same thing. And by the way, do you know how you know it's not the same thing? Because they claim that sexual preference, that orientation and gender are different. Yet they sandwich it together.
Yeah.
So
I think it has the same problem when you have like large groups of races or people in whatever the marginalized group is. You don't want to admit that there's a flaw in it because they're afraid that it'll stop their progression.
Right.
So it's easier to just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sad part because you guys could have a more successful movement if you did point out the fact that people were manipulating it.
Yeah.
In really, it seems like pretty high numbers, and the people that are paying the price.
I would say they're having a pretty successful movement.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it seems like
they are, but still.
If you measure success by just getting everything you want, regardless of behavior, or if you measure success by actually keeping people safe, two different goals. But I understand what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like it's not
number one. They're killing it.
Yes. Just
sorry, Gerald.
No, you're fine. I mean, it sucks because I'm going back through these things in my head that we talked about today, and there were several instances. One was a 5-year-old, one was an 11-year-old, one was
it was once in college. Let it go.
No, it wasn't. None of them were working their way through college, Dave.
They were experimenting. They were into puppetry.
No. I mean, these are the people that are paying the price. And so the adults are out here screwing around and not understanding that you need to have a conversation about the real threats that are posed when people take your best intentions and manipulate them, and you're not looking at kids and going, oh, God, like you're the ones paying for our decisions. The stupidity that we are doing right now for public policy is hurting you.
This has to be course corrected or there's no longer going to be
like the
Western civilization. And I mean that. This has to be course corrected. You cannot say that men and women are not a thing. You cannot protect the most vulnerable among you, namely your children and women from men in spaces where sexual assault can take place. You cannot allow that to happen and continue to have a functioning society.
No, but you certainly should never let women carry firearms to protect themselves from these idiotic policies.
Oh, God, no.
You can't do anything based on fear.
Right.
Just the complete fear of being canceled or losing your job or anything else because you're saying something that's hateful, which has nothing to do with hate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with hate. That's a good point. It's wrong to hate.
It is.
I hate some stuff.
Yeah, the ground owl. That thing just, I don't want to get back into it. I let that rest.
Trapdoor spiders, Snake Island.
Let that rest after a couple of years, but the ground owl still just, if I think about it.
Amputees.
Well.
Just a joke.
Dave,
that's a joke.
Limb different.
I love limb different people.
Yeah.
Different.
The ghost limb.
They're a little different, and their limb isn't.
Allow for different angles.
Yeah. I shake their ghost hand.
Oh my gosh, Pinocchio, since you lost both arms, we can really have a go of it. All right, let's go to the next chat.
Why can't I walk? I took your legs.
To know. Question: if the Crowder crew were to change gender, what would be your new names?
Well, mine was Stephanie because
already
it's
have
lazy, and I've done it and I destroyed the political career of a woman who was poised to be the first female presidential candidate, Wendy Davis.
Good job.
Which was not my intent.
No, but it is silver
I'll
lining.
take the win.
Yeah, exactly.
So Stephanie, Steph-on-knee. What would yours be there, Gerald?
I mean, it's the cheesy one, Geraldina.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll go back to you. Think of something better.
Oh, thanks.
What would you be, Dave?
Dave Manda, hug and kiss.
I like it.
Quarter Black Garrett, what would you be?
I don't know. Margaret? There's a Garrett in there.
Let's go.
It's just Garrett.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there you go.
Wait,
name it after the most respected female head of state ever.
I think legally you have to be Wanda because that's who Jamie Foxx was on In Living Color.
Oh, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, you be Wanda. Why just have the giant ghetto booty? I'll rock your world.
It's so in fashion right now too.
I'll just be Morgan.
Remember how hateful that was?
Morgan.
Yeah,
Morgan. That works.
It's either way.
You know, and it's also non-threatening.
It is.
Someone's like, I got raped by Morgan. You're like, I don't buy it.
No, Morgan. No,
I think you'd believe
no. Ho.
That big glass of water.
Who you calling a hoe?
Not Morgan. Just Morgan.
Just Morgan.
It's like Madonna.
Cher Bear?
Yeah, like Madonna. Are you going to make out rape Drake? That was one of the most disgusting things I ever saw. Do you remember that at the VMAs or whatever it was, where she's like, and he actually gets up and he's like, oh, it tastes like Benson and Hedges and Ben Gay. Bitch is crazy.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, someone in the control room, bring up the Madonna kissing.
No, we don't need to.
Yes,
I mean,
we
okay.
do.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Bring up Madonna. Let me know when you have it. Madonna kissing Drake. It was at some music awards thing, and he was in a chair. It's his reaction after she it was clear they were supposed to share a kiss, but she's like, bleh, and he's like, and he's kind of going in like this, like, like in Drag Me to Hell with the embalmment fluid. And then she's like, and he actually like shoves her off and is like,
you smell like elderberries.
So sort of almost pretty.
Who?
Madonna.
When?
Yeah, I know some of her relatives because she's from Michigan.
Where she recorded Like a Virgin is not far.
No, where she pretended to be a virgin. You mean?
Yeah.
Like a Virgin.
Like a Virgin.
It was irony, Gerald.
For the very first time, because it was like she wasn't, but it felt like she was.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because
the whole point of
her
the song.
first time had to be counted. Her first time you have to go, but you have to use an abacus.
Gerald, do you know what lyrics are?
Not lyrically speaking, no.
Well, if you lyrically go through a song, it'll tell you what it means.
Not always.
It's
You don't
not
even
all
have to go
just
through
a
the song.
rhythm.
It's
Not
just the title
always.
of the song.
That's actually true.
Explain to me Strawberry Fields Forever.
That's exactly what I was just thinking about. Okay, what is it? Let me
Strawberries
take you down, because I'm going to strawberry fields where nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry and then it goes, what's it? Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see.
See?
It's easy to get worked up something, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. What does that mean?
It's all about not caring, man.
It means all your friends took LSD, found a kaleidoscope, and started playing the didgeridoo.
Right, right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's not obvious.
And then
I think it's obvious.
You have to have context.
And for as much as Ringo is a crappy songwriter, we can all agree, at least, okay, let me ask you this. Dave knows.
It's important.
Ringo Starr wrote 2 hits. I think he may have only written 2 songs, but he wrote 2 hits for the Beatles.
Okay.
Okay? So one was Octopus's Garden.
I don't even know that one.
What was the other?
You don't
You
know.
don't know
I'd
that
like to
one?
be under the sea in an octopus's garden.
I
in the
still
sea.
don't know
Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
I also hate
what?
the Beatles, so that's okay.
Do you know?
I also hate the Beatles.
Do you
so
know
I'm
the
like,
other song from Ringo?
No.
Yellow Submarine.
Oh, I know that
That's
one.
a #1 hit.
It still sucks, but I know it.
I just wonder, like, what is with
This
what is the aquatic
yeah.
theme? I wrote Octopus's Garden, and then I thought we'd do a follow-up with Yellow Submarine because that's where I saw the Octopus's Garden.
Do you have anything on land, Ringo?
Well, I've been trying to go with a nautical theme with my songs. I was thinking for number 3 it'd be, hey, hey, there's a shark.
Okay, no.
No,
What is a
Ringo.
land? Do a land.
Well, you're really tying my hands. My specialty's in the nautical variety.
What about a land shark?
How about a pelican?
It's a bird close enough to
Well,
water.
it does. I see your point. Okay, what about a restaurateur going about his day-to-day with his restaurant shop?
It's this. It's all.
It's a sand.
No,
He sells seafood.
I knew it was going to be that. I knew it was going to be that.
Well, listen, John, we can't all just do mind-altering drugs and bang an assless communist.
Why not?
Look at her. Do you like her? She looks like every Chinese boy I've ever seen.
Oh. And Paul's just like, happy and bubbles and okay.
Paul's like, I have a stupid-looking bass, and I'm going to last forever.
How silly it is, and how high up it is.
And then I'm going to get a role on Shining Time Station, be replaced by George Carlin. That'll be my career highlight. You guys, did you ever have Shining Time Station in the States?
No.
That was a show. He was a little Mr. Conductor.
Well,
it was
maybe
Ringo
we had
Starr,
it.
and there was George Carlin. They were a little mini conductor.
Yeah, we had that.
That's where Thomas the Tank Engine started. Was
that's
Shining
true.
Time Station. It was a sub show of the kids in the station. What's her name? Pinky from Grease.
Yep.
Was a lady who ran it, and the kids would be like, "Is Mr. Conductor here?" And this little man would come out, and for some reason they wouldn't freak out, like, "Oh my God, it's a mini human,
Tiny man."
And he would like, "Let me tell you a story about Thomas the Tank Engine, and he has a friend who was Bobby the Coal Tank, and he was a real dick." And they'd blow his whistle, and they'd go to a Thomas the Tank Engine story, and that was it.
Nowadays, it'd be like, and he's a real dick, but he chopped it off.
They chopped it off.
All fixed.
so
Now
good.
he's more of a crease.
Oh, better.
All right, let's go to more shots.
Bit of a wound.
We have Madonna, a little short clip of it if you want.
Oh, you want?
Oh, is this Madonna Drake?
No.
Yeah, he's sitting in a chair, right, and she's like over his...
Yeah, this is sexual assault in my opinion.
Oh, is this wheelchair Drake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early in his career.
Now watch. Now he's like, okay, enough. He's like, he's like,
Oh, man. That was clear. He didn't even try to cover it up at all.
Better man.
Oh, that is
cigarettes.
So Steven and I were watching a movie years ago, and we were in there, and it was like the preview plays, and so the Sprite commercial starts, and it's.
Oh yeah, that's right, and it was Drake. Was it last name ever, first name greatest? And I was listening to it, and he sounded all tough. But then I was like, did you hear his second lyric after that? His second line, he goes, "Like a sprained ankle, boy, you ain't nothing to play with." I'm like, a sprained ankle? You're gonna sing? You're gonna rap about being a bitch?
Yeah.
But
Steven can't control himself in movies.
I had a sprained ankle and I called off my tour. What?
Yeah. He can't control himself in movie theaters either during the movie or beforehand. And you very loudly were like, something like that guy grew up in like whatever in Buttersoft, bitch. That he's not even gangster.
I needed a Band-Aid. My mom gave me generic. I said, bitch, Band-Aids don't stuck on me. What?
No.
I am stuck on Band-Aid brand because germs don't stick on me. Buy it.
Stop, Drake.
Drake, we need you to start doing commercials immediately.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Cranberry juice stopped my UTI.
Yeah.
I think I may have done something with a guy.
50 Cent comes in. I'm the Band-Aid man. It's on my face.
That's me.
I was shot 183 times.
How long it take me to piss? I'd say about a day. I solved that shit with my ocean spray. All right, let's go to the next chat.
Lemon limes.
The research department sent me in this. The Yellow Submarine was actually written by Paul McCartney and John Lennon, but Ringo sang it.
Ringo sang it.
Okay. Sang it.
Well, you know what they were like?
Took
They were
away
like,
his number
we
one.
have this song that we're not really proud of. Ringo, how about you lend your voice here?
You like
He's
aquatic?
like, wait, is it aquatic themed? That's my thing.
On the third day of us in an acid trip, we started petting a goat and we wrote it, and then we saw it and we were like, this is shit.
We said it's absolute shit. Let's send Ringo out there to sing it. He's like, oh, we all live in the Yellow Submarine. They're on the side of the stage like, you're doing great.
It's not Coldplay.
Here, Ringo, you're gonna outlive half of us.
Yes.
Well, that sucks.
That's terrible.
Really? Couldn't I maybe be like a second to go?
No.
You're going to be the last.
Oh. I've got to live with this forever.
I've got to be around here for a long time. That hurts. All right, let's go to the next chat.
Right.
Number one's gonna walk around New York at the most violent time
in history, yeah.
It's all right, I'm John Lennon.
Question, Steven. You said you will only do this show. Why not build on the momentum, expand into other shows with similar quality of content?
You know what? I'll tell you exactly. And I think this show needs, we're going to do a mission statement when we come back to YouTube. Let me tell you why. Because I can only do one thing really, really, really well. And I believe that's true of everybody. We just talked about Michael Jordan yesterday trying to play baseball. Michael Jordan can be the best basketball player who's ever lived. He can be a mediocre baseball player. The same thing when you see a lot of shows out there, and it's very... I mean, honestly, I would say it's more common than not, people in this industry to have a podcast, to have a radio show, sometimes it's a hybrid of the two, to have a television show, to be doing guest appearances. And if you listen to them, it's a regurgitation of the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So two things there. I don't want to be beholden to a 24-hour cable news cycle if there's no news because I don't want to have to lie to you. But I know at least, maybe it's because of a lack of capability. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as talented. It takes me about 12 to 14 hours to work on this show just myself. I know that I can put everything that I have into one show. And I have to because, look, you guys are, a lot of you paying $69 a year for Mug Club, and you get, 4 shows a week from us. Actually,
unless you
more.
use the promo code.
Well, no, it's $69 with the promo. $79, sorry. Yeah, $20 off, Fight Like Hell. And you get access to the whole Blaze catalog. But I know that you're subscribing to this show. And so I owe it to you to create the best show I possibly can. Don't always achieve that. I know that I wouldn't be able to tell myself that looking in the mirror if I had 4 or 5 shows. I'd be able to say, I did 4 or 5 good shows. I would not be able to say, people pay for this show and I make the best show that I absolutely can. I can only pour everything I have into this. This is the only daily show like this that I will. Now, I would love to, at the point, once my life settles down, and I don't mean twins. Twins are easy compared to what I have to do on the show. I'm going to tell you, it really is. Like, they're not easy, but it adds more stress. This has always been a labor of love, but it's a lot of work. I would love to get to the point where, just like a Johnny Carson, I can have someone on this show, and they appear, and their shows are sold out, and their podcast does well. I would love to be able to produce other shows, things that don't involve me at that point having to work so much on their show, but they can work, and I can help supply the capital. That's something I would do, but I am not going to do another daily show. Maybe we'll do an episodic at some point, or a special. That's different. As far as the show of the day, it is Louder with Crowder. It is mine. It has always been mine. It will always be mine, and we will partner with good companies who we think provide support, and it's mutually beneficial. I will always control this show, and I will always make sure that all of my energy on a daily basis goes into this show, because that's what I've promised you, that's what you've paid for, and the only way I can do it is doing one as excellently as I can. That's just me. All right.
And I'm trying to get you out there, too, like a little mini tour.
Maybe.
It'd be kind of fun.
Maybe I'll do it.
We'll see.
Maybe I'll do it.
As long as it doesn't hurt the show.
Just don't throw your concrete milkshakes.
You won't know they're concrete until
I won't. I won't until I wake up in the elevator.
Yeah.
Like,
those are reserved for Asian gay men.
Yeah, well, that's true.
The hardcore.
Yeah,
right.
well, I'll just cut my me so sorry bit because I don't want to confuse them.
That's true.
All right, let's go to the next
All right. I don't love government intervention, but do you think the government should break up info monopolies like Google?
Absolutely, of course. Look, I don't love government intervention either, and I'm sure Gerald and Dave will have some opinions here, but I'm not a libertarian on this because now you genuinely have companies that are more powerful than world governments, and the reason they're more powerful is because of protection afforded to them by government. The reason Google, the reason Twitter, the reason Facebook have been able to create effectively a tripopoly, really what we have, and Twitter really shouldn't even be included. It's not even close. But the reason for that is because the government protects them from Section 230. Only a select group of websites get the protection where they don't have liability protection, and these people work in the hallowed halls of government. And if you want to talk about big money in politics, look at big tech. So I understand saying, hey, if it's the free market, I understand, and you can't break them up. Well, actually, even if it's the free market, you can break up monopolies because that can be detrimental to the market and to the consumer. That being said, these companies did not spring up to their level to the free market. They would not have been able to had there been an actual free market, and that needs to be fixed. Now, you have a government that if they want to break them up, they're going to want to break them up and say, look, we're going to do this, but we're going to go lenient on you if you make sure that you enforce our speech conduct rules. So we do not have common ground on the solution. Break them up and make sure you don't censor anything. Hey, YouTube, algorithms are a thing of the past in the sense that you're a search engine. Go back to search.
Yeah.
Facebook, if someone wants to look for a source, someone wants to look for a news story, you have no right to send them to something else. You guys were protected under Section 230 because you were effectively digital town squares and you were search engines. You were a tool. Now you're an editorial magazine. People cannot find the info they are searching for because you have people altering that. So you are not fulfilling your end of the bargain, and we're going to break you up.
Yeah, and so honestly, I think what you just said, it's 230. You don't even have to break them up if you do 230. You just sue them into oblivion for what they are doing.
Well, at this point, you'd have to break them up, too.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, at this point, you'd have to break them up because retroactively, they wouldn't be able to. I think you need to do all of the above.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a problem when Facebook gets so big because of 230, right? And then Instagram starts becoming big, could be a competitor, and then Facebook buys Instagram.
Right.
Right, and then Google then buys YouTube.
Right. Well, they went after Ma Bell, right? That was back in the day. They were breaking up telephone companies. They went after Microsoft for antitrust laws. Like, if you're going to go after these giant companies for what they're doing, are you telling me that Google and Facebook and these guys are not doing the exact same thing and just buying up all their competitors and probably having unfair trade practice? I don't know. Is anything going on with Apple and the App Store and developers and creators being able to fully access that? Right? Is all of that just happening? Like, nobody's doing anything wrong anymore?
Well, I think it's honestly though, because if they want to break up a monopoly, they have to Google how to break up a monopoly.
And when they do it, it just says that blank screen we saw earlier.
It's
nothing
it's
there.
all banana.
They put the link on the second page.
Penis.
That's all
I wasn't searching for severed penis. I was searching for fully intact penis.
I thought severed penis was the code.
No, you know a great example of this recently? I don't know all of the ins and outs here, but for years... For years, I was with Sprint, and I was with Sprint because they were cheaper. They were the only company that offered unlimited at that point.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was
They throttled you,
terrible.
right?
No. I just didn't get reception anywhere. I was with AT&T, and this is
Sprint,
so. This
come
was a
on.
period in time where AT&T said unlimited, but they throttled you after only a few gigs. And Sprint was the one that said we actually offer unlimited, but they had the worst network in the nation. Now I was saying, hey, I get backdoored in with this unlimited, and for a long time they were talking about this merger between Sprint and T-Mobile, and I think it was going to be purchased partially, but Tim may know about this. But SoftBank is like this Japanese bank or business, and because of antitrust laws, they actually weren't allowing this to happen. Keep in mind, at this point, it was really just Verizon and AT&T.
Yeah.
So the argument was, well, right now we have 4 competitors, but really they had 2 competitors and 2 non-competitors through T-Mobile and Sprint. And T-Mobile and Sprint were saying, hey, if we're able to merge, we could genuinely provide a third option to AT&T and Verizon, which right now we're not able to do. So there was this whole period of raising capital, and then after a few years, I was like, okay, I'm done with Sprint, and I didn't stick it out. But now Sprint, T-Mobile, they've merged. Have you guys seen the T-Mobile stores? Have you guys seen the T-Mobile ads? They went from 4th tier to now claiming the most reliable or the best coverage, but everyone's phone plans have gotten significantly better because you added a third competitor. Now you had some people, largely on the left, saying if you allow T-Mobile and Sprint to merge, you're going to have 1 fewer competitor. But free market people were saying, look, right now there are only 2 competitors, and if these second-string competitors want to come together to actually create a larger company, we think that's a good thing. And guess what? It's been tremendous. You now have better coverage, you have faster coverage for less money. T-Mobile brought a lot of people over by offering cheap programs for people over the age of 55.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone here wants to argue that cell phone plans are worse now than the era of only AT&T and Verizon. And that's a perfect example of where you have to look at it and say, okay, all right, do we want a free market? I don't think it's free market to say Sprint and T-Mobile can't merge.
Right. No, I definitely understand. And, this actually just brings it up. Like, we're on a platform right now that is trying to compete with YouTube, right? They are trying to build Rumble, right? We're on a platform.
And how do many people find Rumble? Well, they would search for them on Google. Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good point.
And before that, there was Parler. And I'm not defending anything that Parler did, but Parler basically lost its right to exist. And however you feel about that, but guess who was controlling that information? Amazon's like, no, you can't have our service.
And the Apple Store.
We had a problem just with having a shirt. I didn't know that Shopify could kick you off because they didn't like your shirt.
No. Here's the thing. Shopify didn't kick us off because of a shirt. They kicked us off because of me.
Oh, it's more specific.
We didn't sell the Socialisms for Figs shirts.
I thought it was in the mystery box.
No. No. We had done away with the mystery box. I learned my lesson. But no, Shopify was like, we don't like you. I was like, well, what's wrong with the merch? Like, we don't like you.
Huh. Okay.
That's the reason.
Is that not discriminating against belief? And look, if you want to say they have the right to, I understand, but not if you believe that bakeries have to be forced into baking for a specifically gay wedding, not a gay cake, specifically being involved in a gay wedding. You can't have that both ways.
A heterosexual cake for a gay wedding.
Yes, a heterosexual cake.
I get it. I get it.
I
have nothing to add. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just trying to keep up.
Let's go to one more chat, and then I think we'll get going here. Thank you guys here on Rumble. I appreciate it. And we're still, by the way, we're still going to be streaming Mug Club next week. It's just things don't change. We're just not on the YouTube for a little while.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, and if you can, share the story. It's available at lighthousecredit.com so people understand what's at stake here. And it's not us. It's you. You can't speak out against these policies.
Yeah.
Final chat.
All right. Benny Two Shoes wants to know, when did your Christian faith become your own from what your parents taught you?
It's a good question. Gerald, do you have an answer? Because I have a specific answer, and it's going to surprise some people.
Oh, okay. Probably in high school, right? So it was a little earlier. Like I had my kind of conversion experience early on, probably at 12, where I realized
it was
like,
electroshock
thing. Yeah. Well, no, they dunked me and said they weren't letting me up until I said yes.
Yeah.
Say uncle. Say uncle.
Shutter Island was based on his conversion.
But no, probably in high school where I started kind of living it out a little bit more and getting involved in FCA and stuff like that. Not like that, Dave.
Oh.
Getting involved in programs and really trying to help and start mentoring and everything else. I was like, oh, yeah, like this is something that I really do. This isn't just what mom and dad taught me.
Yeah.
But from an early age, my parents engaged with me on all of this stuff and made sure that I understood what we were talking about. If I had questions, I could ask. And they understood, like, hey, we don't have all the answers, right? But we're going to point you to the scripture that does. And you can answer those questions there. So I think my parents did a great job of making sure that this faith was not something that was spoken and not lived. It was something that they did live out, right?
Yep.
They didn't just say it and give it lip service.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's important to note that nobody is a Christian because you're raised a Christian.
No.
There's a difference between you could say, well, I was raised Christian. Everyone has to choose at some point to become a Christian.
Yeah.
Period. That's the nature of the faith. It's not passed down to you. Values can be how you're raised, but at some point or another, you have to make the decision. Do you remember Court of Black Garrett?
I would say kind of about the same time, high school age, where I was, again, like you said, I was raised in a Christian home, but it wasn't ever forced on me. It wasn't like, you have to do these things. And I kind of just came through it on my own. My friends invited me to church, and then I went there a lot more often, and there was a big event, and I accepted at that point, which I already had known. I already knew all the steps, basically. Right. I knew the Bible, and I knew Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit. And it wasn't until then where I was like, okay, I think I'm ready on myself that I think.
Where was the heart change?
Yeah.
And I don't want to put you on the spot there, Dave, because I know we're kind of still you're still, you're working through it.
Yes.
Like a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll close.
No, I'll be honest. I mean, I was raised Catholic. I have my issues with faith because of stuff that I've gone through in my life, but I do believe in God, and I attend Bible study when Gerald doesn't forget to tell me about it.
That's true.
And I do go to Bible study, and I'm interested in what people have to say. I think I think I'm trying to be open-minded to all kinds of stuff. I think I'm going to go Muslim extremist, but for right now,
we're watching.
It's attractive. How do we compete with the virgins?
I just want to know.
Well,
how
I
to
can
grow
tell you
a
this:
beard.
sooner or later, you're going to want someone with a little more professional experience, and that's when you come over to Team Jesus. I will tell you.
Freaky.
Look, I'll tell you this, and I'll leave on this. I think I've already communicated the trans stuff. Look, before I go to the Christian thing, I'll communicate it one last time. If you read this language, okay, I want to be really clear, and this is something we have so many issues. I mean, how many times do I get suspended on Twitter or notification, or we get strikes on YouTube that aren't hard? It happens all the time, and I don't want to turn it into a story because it becomes white noise. The issue here is, of course, that our episode has been taken down and that we are not able to stream. We are not able to communicate with you based on language from YouTube itself, which again says you are not allowed to target the transgender community in an offensive manner, not a violent manner, in an offensive manner. For example, by indicating that trans people pose a rape threat to women. And this is a conversation. This is not by happenstance, I would argue. I don't think it is. That it just comes down with this language. The day that a story goes national that a young girl was raped by a transgender individual in the school, not enough was done, and he went on to rape somebody else. If you are a parent and you believe that boys are boys, or if you are a parent who's pro-transgender but you believe there should be some kind of a standard to allow transgenders into girls' restrooms or boys' restrooms, for example, that should be confirmed. You may be able to voice your opinion here at a town hall. You may be able to voice your opinion in a public square. You can't voice your opinion on the digital square in the town hall. This language says if you say, hey, I don't want this policy to come into place, which we've gone over ad nauseum today, I'm concerned that my daughter is in more danger than not, had there not been a policy, of being raped, of being sexually assaulted. You're not allowed to say that. This is what's so scary. These companies who control the flow of information are now saying that you are not allowed to say things that you've always been allowed to say anywhere in public. This is how people communicate right now. And there's no regulation. And there's certainly no regulation forcing them to abide by the 230 laws and honoring the First Amendment in the United States. We had a video recently taken down because Japan said it was a problem. Or blocked in Japan because they don't have the same freedom laws as we have here in the United States. You know what I think? YouTube, you're an American company, you honor the American laws, whether you're in Japan or not. I don't care. I don't care what Germany says. I don't care what Japan says. I don't care if in Canada they can jail for you for a joke. You made your bones here in the United States because of our Constitution, because of the First Amendment, and yes, because of the Second Amendment. I know that most of you don't carry firearms over there at Google headquarters in Palo Alto, but guess what? You have low-rent guys, probably people who you force to wear masks like the Met Gala while you don't, who do protect you with guns. Just to be clear, you honor the laws of the country that allowed you to be a multi-billion-dollar company, and you honor the protections afforded to you that eliminate your liability of stuff being posted on your website, right? Because you are not an editorial page. In other words, the only reason YouTube is not New York Times, Washington Post, is because they cannot change if it's offensive. If the Washington Post posts something that's defamatory, that's offensive, they're held liable. YouTube is not. Only if they make sure that that stuff is allowed. That's important to note. This is not directed at us. This is directed at you. It's directed at you at a very specific time. And if people think that we're going to go quietly into the night, that's not going to happen. This is how we fight like hell. We're going to fight it legally. We are going to fight it publicly. And we are going to shame them because that's a valuable tool. Going back to the question here. You know, it's funny. I was raised Christian. And I was raised a Christian in a Christian household, great parents. And I even was baptized at a young age by choice, like at around 7 or 8. So I understood all of it. I guess you would say sort of like on a technical level, right? It was kind of mechanical. But I do remember the moment, and I'm not a guy who's had a lot of like spiritual experiences. I remember the moment where I felt, okay, I'm saved. We'll use that term. Yeah. And it was me sitting in my our apartment. We were raised in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. Me and my brother, 4 people. And we were sitting in the kitchen on 88 Reed. And my father had just gone to see The Passion of the Christ, or his friend had seen The Passion of the Christ. And he said there's this really impactful scene in the film, because some of it is in English and some of it is in Aramaic. And I don't know why this, for some reason, connected with me. I think it was because even though I was a Christian, I felt like, look, I think a lot of us feel like a piece of shit. And you understand that God forgives you in the Christian faith. You don't really feel like you deserve it. You know why? Because you don't. And so I think this is what it was. I was like, I'm a Christian, but I felt a lot of guilt. I still felt like I'm a Christian, but man, I looked at these naked pictures, or I'm a Christian, but man, I lit this cherry bomb on the school toilet, or whatever it was. The point is, I didn't feel like I was worthy of forgiveness, even though I understood that, well, okay, God wants to forgive me, whatever. So he's talking about going to see The Passion of the Christ. I hadn't seen it at this point, and he mentioned the scene, he said, where thief on the cross is mocking Jesus Christ, one of the thieves. And he's saying, if you're Jesus, why don't you just, if you're the great I am, why don't you just take yourself down from that cross? If you're something so special, you guys know the thief on the cross. And Jesus looked up and started saying something. I believe it was Aramaic, maybe it was Hebrew, I don't know in the Passion of the Christ, but was speaking in a different language. And the thief asked, what is he saying? And he was mocking him, and he was trying to embarrass him. The most humiliating, painful time of Jesus Christ, he's being crucified, crown of thorns. And he says, what is he saying? And the other thief said, he's praying for you. And for me, it was someone describing the Passion of the Christ. I said, oh, that's real. He's forgiving that guy. Doesn't matter what my search history is. Doesn't matter the things that I've done. I really do have a direct line to someone whose goal is to love and forgive me. And there was a switch. It was almost like a feeling of warm water on the back of my head. I can't describe it, but I had never felt it before. And there was a peace. And it was when I decided, okay, I get it now. And wanted to, the best of my abilities, as flawed as I am, serve and follow that God the rest of my life. So try to do it day to day, and then every now and then, we make some transgender jokes because it's in the news. We will see you Monday.